Hello everyone, I am very happy to make this video today because officially this is the start of the construction of the container house site. The first step is the foundations. We'll opt for a more eco-friendly and simpler solution instead of concrete. Technopiles, these are 2-meter metal piles that we will screw into the ground, so the house afterwards will be on stilts. What I suggest is that we cut this video into 2 parts. A first part where we will see how to install these Technopiles. So, it's a company that will do it, that will come and screw these large screws, and then a second part. On the why, where, I will explain to you why I made this choice, particularly regarding the price. Spoiler alert, you'll find it's an interesting, eco-friendly and easy-to-install solution with many benefits. Watch this video until the end, and then enjoy. Hi, I'm Julian Malara. And this is my house container. I'm 26 years old, have no knowledge of do-it-yourself, but I've taken on the crazy challenge of building an affordable and eco-friendly house. I'm also trying to develop my resilience and live in harmony with nature. I'm filming all of this, I put it on this channel, so subscribe if you want to follow the adventure. To brief you on the project, we have 4 12-meter shipping containers that will be placed adjacent to one another. What I've decided to do is to put 4 Technopiles along the 12-meter length to avoid the trampoline effect, and 5 Technopiles in width to accommodate the 4 containers. So, in total, we have 20 Technopiles, 12 of which will support 2 containers at the same time. For this, we have 20 Sino plates on the parts where we only have 1 container, and 30 Sino plates for the Technopiles that will accommodate 2 containers. And finally, as you can see, the advantage is that we did not have to deal with earthworks. We just came to screw the piles one by one, and that allows to have a less great impact on my land. Before starting the construction site, we came to do tests. So, we planted piles at different places on the ground to see at what depth. We had to screw them in so that they could bear the weight. We realized that a pile at 2 meters could hold 5 tons. That's more than enough for our project since a container weighs 4 tons. So there you go. I still had to put 8 per container to avoid the trampoline effect. In theory, a single one can support the container's weight. We're pretty good. If your house construction is heavier, you should know that each pile can even go up to 10 tons if we drive them deeper. And if your house is even heavier than that, you just switch to piles with a larger diameter. These are the smallest piles we can find, and it really suits a light house. Otherwise, you have much heavier piles, we drive them much deeper. But the result remains similar. Let's go now, we're going to see the works, how it's going to happen.
So you are in front of the machine that we call EM2 at Technopieux. It's a machine that screws steel foundation piles with a load recovery capacity and compression of 15 tons. The piles are steel barrels of varying diameters fitted with helices also of different diameters and shapes. We are on a clay-shaped helix for your soil. The idea is that this machine will force the pile in a way to encourage it to go down into the ground. Then the helix will drive the pile into the ground until it finds the right soil. In relation to your project, this machine provides us with pressure information that we see on its gauges. We have a first gauge here and then a repeater here. And this pressure tells us the driving torque obtained in real time, pile by pile, and each driving torque is converted into load-bearing capacity.
This is the screwdriver and screws. You need the right screws to support the appropriate weight.
The correct screws depend on your project and soil type. And then the machine allows us to screw the screws to the required torque for each support. So we don't pre-drill in the ground, we take the ground as it is, and we really penetrate into the ground thanks to this machine.
Okay, well, let's get started screwing this, then let's go. And here we leave them 20 centimeters from the ground, because for my cladding I need 20 centimeters. And then, on top of that, your colleague is gonna come and cut and put on plates to place my containers on afterwards. Absolutely. So,
We have the laser level that will allow us to put them all at the same altitude so that you can have a similar base.
After the implementation of the piles in the project, an altitude was defined of what will be the end result of the skin, that is to say the end result of the plate. Once the screwing is done, we can't be at the 0.5 centimeter or the necessary 3 millimeters. So we're going to cut our pile again. And to cut our pile again, we use a reference point that was established earlier and a laser level. And the next operation will be the implantation of the base plate, which again will be taken up with the laser and level to really set it to the millimeter. This will let us align a set of piles at the same level afterwards.
And then, since the ground is a bit sloping, well, a slight slope. This one is set to 20, but we'll calculate further on.
Each stake needs to be aligned as we took a reference point to be at 20 centimeters on the upper part of the field. On the lower part, where we have a very slight slope, we will be at 30 or 40 centimeters, depending on the purpose, but it will allow us to have perfect horizontality.
We are at 20 centimeters, we are at 20 centimeters, and they will all be aligned thanks to the laser, like this. So I'm going to mark a first point to fix this side of the plate. And thanks to the bubble level, I will then be able to balance it horizontally in one direction and the other, and I can finish the welding. All the plates will be installed at the same height on the axle bench, aligned with the containers.
We have small 7.87 inches plates here, as there is only one container on this side. On the other side, we will have 30 centimeters to position 2 containers on the same plate.
Exactly, the containers will share the plates on presumably 15 centimeters each, which is more than enough compared to the moments and efforts that need to be resumed.
In my fake green screen house while my real container house is being built. Having covered the various phases of Technopile installation, it's high time I explained why I made this choice and also tell you how much it cost me. Because I know that's what interests you, but just before, if this series of videos interests you and you want to see what's next, subscribe to this channel to see how the containers are delivered, assembled and cut. It would be silly to miss his future videos, especially since they are really great. Well, that's what I've been told, apparently, that's it. If you can afford it, please support us on Technopieux. It's very important to pay the cameraman, the editor, me who makes these videos at the same time as I build my house and all that. Really the guy. And in the description, there is the link. There you go. If you can support us, it helps us a lot. Because, well, this channel is a media funded by you and we need you. There you go. Thank you for everything. I'll let you watch the video. Let's now move on to the first reason why I chose Technopiles. In the first video of this playlist, I presented my entire project explaining everything I plan to do from start to finish. At the time when I made this video, I had not found any other solution than concrete to make my foundations. Many of you pointed out in the comments that no, Julian, you can't make videos about an eco-friendly house and at the same time use concrete. It's incompatible. It doesn't work. No, Julian! So there you have it. So I was a bit desperate, I continued my research, and I came across a technique our ancestors used, lime concrete foundations. What is lime concrete? It's stones mixed with lime. Lime is a mineral. So there you have it. Okay, it's a super ecological solution. We've built millions of houses around the world with it. It's been proven. The problem is that today, no one knows how to do anything anymore. Find a digger who can make lime concrete foundations, although I'm not sure if it exists. It must exist, but not near me. If I had to do it all myself, it would have been a monumental task. I didn't feel like getting into that. I then discovered the Technopiles and Technopiles. It's super interesting, ecologically speaking, for 3 reasons. The first one is that no concrete, that's what we were trying not to use concrete. These metal iron piles are an ecologically sensible choice. Second advantage, it's installed by a giant screwdriver that uses less fuel than a concrete mixer. So, it's also interesting from a grey energy economy point of view. Most interestingly, if my house were to be destroyed 50 or 100 years from now, assuming I'm no longer around, We can unscrew the piles from the ground and the land is intact. I have not impacted the ecosystem in which I live, at least not with my foundations. The second significant benefit of this approach is that it only needs one individual, a large screwdriver, and 2 days of effort to complete. Comparison. For concrete foundations, it will take several weeks of work and then several weeks, up to 6 weeks of concrete drying time. So we're looking at 2 months, let's say at the minimum. Not to mention the fact that craftsmen never respect their deadline. Messing up your container delivery day could lead to a minimum 2-month delay, possibly extending to 3 or 4 months. Well, there you go. I'm a bit harsh on craftsmen. Maybe some of you who are watching me are craftsmen. Well, tell us in the comments why craftsmen never manage to meet their deadlines. Maybe there's a good reason, or maybe it's just because you're poorly organized. I don't know. In any case, express yourself big up to Technopieux because they were super clean on the deadlines and all that, super accommodating. So I did well to take this solution, that's it in summary. But the Technopieux solution is more ecological, faster, simpler to implement.
It's almost too good to be true.
Where is the socket? How much does it cost? That's a bit why you're watching this video, I think. How much do Technopile foundations cost? I suggest we compare the price of Technopiles, which I will tell you a little later in the video. With the 4 quotes I had asked for from 4 companies to do my concrete foundations, to the 4 companies, I asked them the same thing, the same 3 steps. A terracer, that is to say, dig a hole of 1.20 meters deep to create the crawl space. 2. Install an agricultural drain all around to prevent water from getting in. 3. Build the foundations with concrete blocks inside, a bit like I showed you in the first video of this playlist. It should be noted that I could have simply poured a concrete slab, or made concrete piles here and there. That would have reduced the cost of earthwork, however, it would have lost the crawl space, and therefore the concrete foundations would have lost interest compared to Technopiles. So, there you have it, it's just something to consider. What I'm going to do now is detail the 3 expense items by company. So, you have an idea of how much it would have cost me. Concrete foundations, and in the end, I will tell you the cost of Technopile foundations so we can see the difference. Company A asked me for 6,000 euros for the earthwork, 2,000 euros for the agricultural drain and 10,000 euros for the foundations. For a total of 18,000 euros, Company B asked me for 5,200 euros for earthwork, 1,000 euros for drain and 18,000 euros for foundation, for a total of 24,200 euros. Company C quoted me 22,000 euros in total, 4,700 for earthwork, 2,300 for drain and 15,000 for foundation. Company D quoted me 3,500 euros for earthwork, 1,500 euros for the drain and 15,000 euros for the foundation, totaling 20,000 euros. In conclusion, for concrete foundations of the crawl space type under my house, I had to count a minimum of 20,000 euros and a minimum of 2, 3 or even more months of work. But I know that many of you want to know. You are already doing +5, +5, +5 to find out. There. I'm building up the pressure. I stop and I tell you everything. A stake from the Technopieux company, 3 in diameter, that is what we normally use for houses. 2 meters long with a 20 cm plate will cost you 440 euros including tax. If you want the plate to be 30 cm, you will have to go up to 500 euros including tax. Depending on the ground and the weight of your construction, the stakes will need to be screwed more or less deeply. If the depth is over 2 meters, extensions will be necessary. And there, I don't have the prices to communicate to you, but you will need to see that directly with the company. Technopieux. To know at what depth you will need to screw the piles on your land, you need to ask the Technopieux company to come and do a test on site. In my case, they did a test and we realized that 2 meters was more than enough. Because I have good land and containers are rather light as a house. To set up my containers, I needed 8 piles with 20 cm plates and 12 piles with 30 cm plates. To set up 2 containers simultaneously on the same pile, which gives us a total, ladies and gentlemen. Installation is included in the price of the piles, which is 10,118 euros. So, 10,000 euros for my foundations. If we summarize all this, the Technopile foundations cost me 10,000 euros against a minimum of 20,000 euros for concrete foundations. They were installed in 2 days, compared to 2, 3, 4 months if the craftsman is not really available for concrete foundations. And icing on the cake, it's much more ecological. Honestly, I don't even know what else to say. In fact, the numbers speak for themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I may have exaggerated a little too much about the tech-savvy part. Let's finish this video by toning it down slightly. I bring you all the points of vigilance regarding these foundations. The first thing to say is that the tech-savvy, it is still well suited to a container house because the floor of the container will be the floor of the house. So, once it's placed on the tech piles, it's done. To build a wooden house, you'll need to create the checkerboard on the tech piles for your floor. It's totally doable. Silvia Pereira did it very well for her tiny house. She made a video on the subject. I'll leave the poster up top. Go check it out. It's super interesting. It's important to consider that technology has a limited lifespan. In a department like Saône-et-Loire, feels like mine only have a lifespan of about 100 years. After 100 years, rust will start to eat away at the metal, and the piles will lose strength over the decades. So, if you plan on building a house for more than 150 years, Technopiles might not be the best idea. In my case, I think that in 150 years, the future owners of my land will be happy to be able to demolish my house, unscrew the piles and have a new, clean plot of land again. To build the house of their dreams. Note that humidity levels in the air vary depending on proximity to the sea, such as in Seine-et-Loire compared to coastal areas. And the piles have a lifespan of about 50 years. But it's still very interesting for quite a few people, especially real estate developers who want to build along the coast. They are legally obligated to restore the coastline to the state they found it in after a certain period of time. 20, 30 years. And only the Technopieux can leave the ecosystem as it was without destroying it, without heavy concrete in the ground. I think I've pretty much said everything. I hope I have convinced you that Technopiles are more interesting than concrete foundations. Maybe not for all projects. Maybe I forgot some information or got some other things wrong. Feel free to continue the discussion in the video comments. You're here for that, so I'm not the only one talking. Let's think together about how to make an eco-friendly house. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's very important because in 2 weeks, the next episode of this series will be about the delivery of the containers. Yeah, we'll see the containers landing on my Technopiles and we'll see if the Technopiles hold up or if they break. I won't spoil it for you, but oh my god, it's crazy. Yes, because I've already filmed the video, so I know everything we're going to see. See you in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching until the end. It was Julian. Bye.